If you watched my video for number 38, you heard me talking a lot about dumb summaries and how we want to, as simply as possible, understand the relationship between the two passages. What do they agree on? What do they disagree on? Most of the time, they're going to disagree. And in this case, remember, this is about gender equality. Debates arose about whether freedoms enjoyed by men should be extended to women as well. We know that the second passage is in favor of it because it talks about enfranchisement of women, giving them the right to vote. And then from our other questions about passage 1, we know he's not in favor of that. So passage 1 is against equality, and passage 2 is for equality. Let's just leave it like that. So now that's going to help us here because even though we're being shown different lines, we can still use the rough versions of what these people think to help us understand how they might respond to each other. So let's go to those lines, 65 to 69. That's going to be here. And I'm going to read a little bit around it, so let's read a little bit before and after. The proper sphere for all human beings is the largest and highest which they are able to attain to. What this is cannot be ascertained without complete liberty of choice. So all this is like pro-freedom stuff here. Let every occupation be open to all, without favor or discouragement to any, and employments will fall into the hands of those men or women who are found by experience to be the most capable of worthily exercising them. This is a pro-equality part of the passage for sure, right? Men and women can, the best person will get the job. There need be no fear that women will take out of the hands of men any occupation which men perform better than they. Okay, so men and women can apply for the same jobs. Very pro-equal right stuff. Now, without even looking at the choices, how would Tocqueville respond to that? Well, we know from our dumb summaries that he's against equality. So he would probably say that these lines are bad, are wrong. So we're going to use that dumb summary as well to help us answer this question. We're looking for that in these answer choices. So let's start by looking for that kind of sentiment. Choice A, they are less radical about gender roles than it might initially seem. Well, radical is usually seen as a bad thing. So if it's less radical, that's a good thing. But we're looking for criticism. We're looking for something that says that it's bad. So this is the opposite of what we want right here. It doesn't matter if he thinks it's less or more radical. His point is he's against equal rights. So it's all bad. No matter how radical it may seem. It's all bad in his eyes. B, persuasive in the abstract, but difficult to implement in practice. Here's a great example of a choice that sounds very academic and is hard to understand, but it's obviously wrong because the word persuasive means that it's good. But he would not be persuaded by these lines. Again, he disagrees with this idea. So he's not going to give it a compliment and say that they're persuasive. He's against it. Let's see C. Ill-advised, but consistent with a view held by some other advocates of gender equality. So ill-advised is great. That's awesome. That's negative. This other part might be a little bit more positive, but let's look at D. Compatible with economic progress in the United States, but not in Europe. Well, again, compatible is a positive sentiment. We want something negative. So the only choice that's even remotely negative here is C. And that's what makes it the answer. And without any doubt, I would pick that. Now, as for the part that comes after, right, consistent with a view held by some other advocates of gender equality, we actually had another question that, or the previous question, number 38, was asking about what the two people agreed on. And what we decided on the answer there was that they agreed about the state of things, right? They disagreed on whether equality was good or bad, but they agreed that equality was happening, that that was a trend that was taking place. And so other people do view equality as good, and he would be acknowledging that, though he disagrees with that. So this does check off as well at the end here, but it's really that first phrase, ill-advised, that does it for me. It's a perfect match with my expectations. It is the only choice that correctly gets to my dumb summary that I'm looking for something negative. He's disagreeing with this point of view because he is against equality, and right there she is talking in favor of equality. Keep it simple, and I promise you'll get more of these right than you think. You understand the simple, so stick to the simple, and you'll usually be totally fine to get the points.